Let's talk about defensiveness. Defensiveness is complex because the experience of defensiveness is different for the one initiating the conversation and the one on the receiving end of the conversation. If you're the one who is initiating a conversation and you're met with something that you perceive looks to you like it's defensive, then you're going to experience it in a way that's really going to make you frustrated or withdrawn because defensive looks like somebody doesn't want to take responsibility. It may look like immaturity. Like, and you might be saying to yourself, would you please just grow up a little bit so I can have a good conversation with you and we can address this thing? It may look like somebody is withdrawing from even the relationship. And when you, as the initiator of the conversation, are met with defensiveness, which sometimes can actually be really loud emotions as well, you've got a few options. You can be that person who will say, okay, maybe I have started wrong. I need to calm the conversation down. Or you can say, I'm not getting this person attention. I'm going to raise my voice. I'm going to raise the emotional volume here so that maybe I'll get noticed. Or you might perceive that as, oh, this person is backing away from the relationship. It's not a good experience. So I'm just gonna withdraw here and stop trying to engage. On the other side of this, if you are the person who is offering up that defensive posture, you may not even know you're being defensive. This is one of the reasons why defensiveness is so complex, because not only do the two people perceive it differently, but the person being defensive, they don't know. Often they don't know. I mean, sometimes in my practice, what I hear is I just need to explain myself. So the person who is on the side of receiving the information, what we perceive sometimes is criticism. What we perceive sometimes is attack. It feels like we're being, told that we need to give an account to like judge and jury. There's something wrong with us. And often the person that we love the most in the world is coming at us, treating us as though we have mortally failed them. And so we're naturally going to get into that defensive posture where we then say, no, this is my value. This is what we're actually doing. Let me explain myself here. It's actually coming from a heart of fear. When we get in the defensive posture, we are generally not doing things to hurt the relationship and shut the relationship down and push the other person away. We are actually afraid. We're afraid that I don't think you see my value. I don't think you notice my contribution in the relationship here. I don't think you hear me when I say that I love you, or I say that, yeah, let's be friends, or yes, I'm in this with you. Whatever that level of relationship you have with this person is, there's a heart of fear here. So what happens when we get to this defensiveness, it actually hurts the relationship. Not only does defensiveness tend to lead to arguments, but the more defensiveness that a person experiences, the less likely they are to engage in conversation. And then a couple may go to kind of withdrawing from each other. They'll avoid each other. They won't deal with the problems. It'll just mount up, and eventually the relationship will just resolve or fizzle, or just won't work out. Defensiveness is a relationship killer. Here's the problem with defensiveness. Here's why. One of the reasons why it's not getting us what we think we want it to. Because when we go to defensiveness, often we're like, let me plead my case for you so that you see me in a better light. Here's why it's not working. Generally, people get into the cycle of content leads to content, leads to content, leads to content, or opinion leads to opinion, leads to opinion, and nothing is being processed. When we go content on top of content on top of content, it's actually raising the emotional load. The conversation is getting heavy. Nothing's really being processed. The way to get out of that cycle, so the antidote to defensiveness, is something that I call gentle listening. Now, I'm Gottman trained. From a Gottman lens, we would call that listening for understanding. But the antidote of criticism is gentle startups. We want a cool title for the antidote of listening, right? So gentle listening, gentle startups meets gentle listening. We want to be able to interrupt the cycle of content, becoming more content. We interrupt that with curiosity. I want to be able to listen for understanding. And there's a 3-step process in being a really great listener so that you're never perceived as defensive and you stay out of that scared zone as the person who's offering the defensiveness. When we have something else to do while we're listening, we generally stay a little bit more grounded in the brain. So here's this 3-step approach of overcoming defensiveness with something that will help you to listen for understanding. Summarize, validate, empathize. So the next time you're in a conversation, you feel attacked. The next time you're in a conversation, you feel, uh-oh, this person doesn't really see who I am. I think they're misrepresenting me, but this is just flat out lie. Instead of going there, summarize. So summarizing starts with, this is what I'm hearing you say. And then you say what they said without interpretation, without commentary, without any kind of pushing back at all. You turn yourself off and you just give really a condensed version of what they've said back to them. And then you check in, did I get that right? So summarizing is, here's what I heard you say the stuff, did I get that right? How that's perceived, received from the person that initiated the conversation, that's perceived as highly empathetic, just right there. I mean, one of the most empathetic things that we can experience, one of the most calming things we can experience is when we say something and somebody says it back to us, because it leaves us with the feeling, oh, you get me. Oh, I'm not alone in this. I have a partner in this. There's good understanding here. There's something to work with to move forward. So if we just start right there, we're giving the speaker, the initial speaker, we're giving them the gift of helping them to stay calm when we do this for them. But we're not done. Summarize, validate, empathize. After we have checked in, did I get that right? Yes. Now we go to validation. And validation doesn't mean I see your point, you're right, I'm wrong. That's not validation. Validation is that makes sense to me because, but it's not how it makes sense to you, it's how it makes sense to the other person. When we speak, we generally speak rationally minded. It makes sense to us when we say the things that we say. And so when we are validating somebody, it doesn't matter whether we understand their point of view or not. What matters is we understand how it is they understand it. So we look at them and say, well, that totally makes sense to me because this is how you're processing that information. If I was in your shoes, I would completely understand that too. And then the final move is empathy. We express some kind of empathy saying, and that must feel, or if we're not confident about what they're feeling, I wonder if you feel this way. And it's just one word. An emotion is one word. So if you say that must feel like that's more than one word. That's a thought. More than one word is a thought. You're getting into debate. Don't do that. That must feel sad. That must feel overwhelming. Or does that feel alone? Does that feel defeated? Something like that. Okay. Summarize, validate, empathize. That will interrupt the cycle of content leading to content leading to content. It will slow down the pace of the conversation so that the person who is doing the initial speaking in the conversation isn't met with, oh, this person doesn't want to work with me in this communication here. So I might want to withdraw because I don't have a willing participant here. It interrupts that process. And it helps the two of you to listen for understanding. Yes, we want to get to compromise. Yes, we want to get to problem solving. Yes, we want to get to betrayal recovery, whatever else we want to do. But the foundation to doing those more complex styles of communication, the foundation of all of that is first to establish a level of understanding. If you think this is helpful, if you are a couple who is caught in a conversation pattern where there's lots of criticism, there's defensiveness, you don't know how to get out of it, reach out. You can find me at rickgrundytherapy.com, and you can find out more about this content in the blog that I just wrote about it. Link is down there. If I can serve you, please go to rickgrundytherapy.com, and I'd love to connect. And absolutely starting with a free consult would be a great idea.